Good evening, everyone. Before I get any further, I must introduce myself to you. I am your truly Makati Barker, the moderator for this evening discussion. So I must say welcome to our professional learning panel discussion on language arts approach. I am delighted to be a part of this regional education seminar aimed at helping teachers strengthen their classroom practice. So today myself, along with my other members and colleagues, will explore Suggestopedia. Based on my knowledge, Suggestopedia is a fascinating and a creative approach to teaching and learning language. So, with further ado, let me introduce or join me as I introduce the three beautiful, wonderful, educated panelists for today. So, give it up for the first panelist, Miss Renata Sampson, followed by Miss Marilisa Combs, our second panelist. Give it up, give it up, give it up. Followed by our third panelist, Miss Ruan Prasad. Further, let me introduce, let us welcome, let us be pleased to have Miss Renata Sampson, the first panelists explain the key principle of Suggestopedia for us.
Evening moderator, Miss Nikesi. So my task tonight is to give a definition of what Suggestopedia is and also the principles of Suggestopedia. Now, Suggestopedia is a language learning approach developed by a Bulgarian psychologist, Dr. Georgy Lozanov. And it is grounded in the belief that students learn best when they are relaxed, confident, and emotionally involved. The term Suggestopedia comes from the word suggestion, which reflects Lozanov's idea that positive suggestions can enhance learning. In other words, if our pupils feel safe, they feel at ease, and they feel capable, then their brain becomes more receptive to new information. So basically, the Suggestopedia is just us finding ways and means to make our pupils, comfortable, make them want to learn in an environment that is learning conducive. And there are several principles attached to Suggestopedia. And one of them is, I will list a few, and so we're going to go through the list. To create a relaxed and comfortable environment. Physical setting is important, and through Lozanov's research, he recommends soft lighting, comfortable seating, and calming music to reduce anxiety and tension. He also, another principle is also positive suggestion. As a teacher, you want to use comforting words, encouraging words. You want to have a tone that makes your pupils want to learn, make them want to open up, make them want to be curious, ask questions, to build up their confidence and their attitude, and we have to make sure that our expression, our facial expressions, our voice, everything is is it lends to them wanting to do that. It's opening, it's inviting, it's comforting, so that they can, it plays a role in us motivating our students. Because remember, if they feel safe, they're gonna want to learn. If you make it an easy, fun environment, they're gonna want to learn. They're not gonna be scared or they don't want to come to school, or they don't want to be in your class. So we have to be careful of how we present ourselves to our pupils. Art, music, and drama. Of course, we know that children learn in different ways. And I know that sometimes we can get stuck with the chalk and talk method, but creating an environment where you use more creative ways, like we can do learning through music, through drama and storytelling and role playing. This involves our pupils in the learning process. It makes them feel a part of it. It's not a teacher-centered approach. It's a pupil-centered approach. It helps our children to use their imagination as well. And if we can have that blend with learning and creativity, then our children definitely will fare better when it comes to receiving new information from a lesson. We have peripheral learning. Of course, we know that we're supposed to have child-friendly classrooms, colorful, bright, inviting. And therefore, whenever we put anything on our walls, whether it's our posters or charts or visual aids, they should grab our pupils' attention. We don't want it to be too wordy, but depending on what level you're teaching, and in this case, we're mostly focusing on the primary level, it should be less words, but more pictures, things that the children can quickly gravitate to visually and get the concept of the idea or the idea of what this poster, this teaching aid is talking about, or what it's suggesting, or what it's leading to. Role play and imagination. Again, students often take on characters or imaginary roles. You and I can remember when we were younger. In my day, the big thing was Power Rangers. And you would find yourself in your yard with your friends, use a pink ranger, you're the yellow ranger, or everybody want to be the white ranger, or whatever it is. That's where we use our imagination. And I think that imagination is something that's lost on this generation. And we as teachers, we need to bring that back, have our pupils learn how to create their imagination roles. Give them a character to play out that still ties into the lesson so that it can reduce their self-consciousness and encourage free expression. So overall, Suggestopedia aims to make language learning fun, natural, and stress-free, and transform the classroom into a positive, emotional, and supportive space is where all our learners can now thrive and want to learn. So that's my little piece, my little contribution to the panel. And I'll want to take you back to Miss Nikesi. Thank you so much for having me this evening, Miss Nikesi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Give it up for Ms. Renata. Ms. Renata did an excellent job explaining the key principles of Suggestopedia. So Ms. Renata, the crowd is saying that suppose now we imagine that we're in space. Can we end up in space? I like that one. That was a good joke from the crowd. Good. So we move on to our panelist number two. So our panelist number two, Miss Miralisa Gold, will share how Suggestopedia can be applied in a real classroom setting. This is interesting. This is interesting. So you need to sit back and you need to listen to this one because as an educator, I would like to know how I can incorporate Suggestopedia in my classroom also. So pay attention, sit back, relax. Let's hear what the panelist has to say. Go right ahead.
Okay, good night. So I'll be looking at connecting Suggestopedia to classroom practice. So now let's look at how Suggestopedia can actually work in the classroom, especially in the language arts setting. So I'll share 3 examples from my own teaching experience in my classroom. So example 1, reading comprehension. So when reading or when teaching the grade 5, like a story, like everybody knows the story, Tommy Goes to the City, right? So I began like dimming the light slightly and like playing soft instrumental music. And then students can close their eyes for a moment and imagine themselves as Tommy visiting the city for the first time. And I then read the story aloud, like with expressive tone and rhythm. You know, when you read, when you use your punctuation mark, when you see exclamation mark, you use those things, right? Like you don't just read like boring, like Tommy goes to the city. You know, you use your tone as well. Tommy goes to the city. You use your full stops, you use your exclamation mark and your questions, the way how you read your story to the learners will, look at you, you will capture their attention from that, right? So afterwards, students took on the roles on characters and acted out in short scenes, right? So I usually do that in my classroom. When there are stories, I use the characters, the children would use the characters and act it out. And in that way they would learn this, understand the story, would be able to answer questions. And this helped them understand the text deeply, develop empathy, and improve oral fluency. Good. So I'll move on to example 2, which is vocabulary development. When introducing new vocabulary, I display the words on colorful charts around the room. As Miss mentioned before, you need to get your classroom really set up nicely, with your teaching aids, your visual aids. Once you get those things in your classroom, it will capture your learners' attention as well. You don't have some dull posters on your wall. You have colorful charts, right? An example of fearful learning. So students repeated the words while gentle background music played again. The later created short songs or rhymes using the new words. So this made vocabulary learning fun. It can be creative and it can be memorable for them. And when you do that, it will stay in their little mind. They will always remember the fun they had, the fun they had in the classroom, the fun that they engaged with both their classmates and the teacher, right? So I have the last one, example 3, which is creative writing. Before a story writing activity, I played a calm background music and invited students to imagine a beautiful scene, like a beach, a forest, or a dreamland. Then they wrote their own stories freely without worrying about mistakes at first. So this can build their confidence and imagination, encouraging authentic expressions. They can use their imaginations to write. They not only can use real life, but they can also imagine from watching movies, from reading books, and so on. So Suggestopedia shows that when students feel relaxed and emotionally connected, they absorb more, they retain longer, and they perform better. As teachers, we can adapt these ideas, perhaps by including light music during your reading sessions, right? Not so loud, not so, just a calm, light music, and decorate your classroom with inspiring in visuals or using drama or movement during your lessons. So these techniques make language arts lessons more engaging and student-centered. Thank you. I'll hand you over back to our moderator. Thank you for having me.
Wow. Wow. That was a great piece. Yes, thank you for that wonderful information. So the audience have a joke. Yeah. Let us hear from, what is your name? Miss Paul. So Miss Paul saying that the last time she closed her eyes, she fell off of her bench in school and the whole class laughed at her. So she tried not to close her eye no more time. Miss, well, in that case, if I were in the same class with you, I would laugh you too. So, all right. So, give it up for Miss. She did an excellent job explaining that the examples for us. So, with further ado, let's put our hands together for our final panelist, Miss Ruan Pasek, who will lead us through or discuss with us the challenges and possible solutions when implementing this approach. This is interesting. This is interesting. I would like to hear more about it. Even if you gotta go to the 12 o'clock. Just kidding. Let us go, Miss.
So, good evening, and I am Miss Ruan Prasad. I will be talking about challenges in Suggestopedia and solutions in Suggestopedia. So as we know, in everything there are challenges, and to the challenges we have to find solutions. So while Suggestopedia is very effective, it comes with some challenges, especially in real classroom where conditions may not be ideal. So challenge one, classroom, sorry, limited classroom space or noisy surroundings. So sometimes in our classroom when it's like crowded, we can have limited classroom space, or sometimes the noise level it's very high in our classroom. So not every classroom can provide a quiet or relaxed environment. So the solution to limited classroom space or noisy surroundings, I think teachers can use small adjustments such as soft background trackers on a phone or creating a calm corner. For example, you might have a calming chair in your classroom. You might not have enough space, but we know that there are furniture or chairs or not table, sorry, chairs or benches in your classroom. So you can use that as like a calming corner so they can go and sit and, calm themselves down with posters and cautions, saying to foster a similar atmosphere. And challenge two, teachers' discomfort or lack of training. So some teachers may feel uneasy about using music, drama, or role play because I think that not everyone, might be a lover of music, so or drama, or even, not everyone will want to do a role play, or, sometimes that might not be our thing in the classroom. So the solution to that, we can start small, use music first to create relaxation, then gradually include role play activities as confidence grows, as the children confidence grows. And because, sometimes the children, they will be in the classroom, they will be shy, they will, they don't want to participate in such. And challenge three, student perception. At times, students might view Suggestopedia as play because, sometimes they think that when you're playing a music, they might be calm, they might be laughing, they might be, feeling relaxed. But rather than, they might think it's play rather than learning. So solution, I think, will, if you explain the purpose of each activity clearly. For example, we say we're using music to help you understand new words, or acting the story helps us improve speaking and comprehension skills. Despite the challenges, the benefits of Suggestopedia far outweigh the difficulties because it makes learning easier, it makes learning more interesting. It also promotes a positive emotional climate, supports different learning styles. It caters for every learner, whether you're a visual learner, whether you're a auditory learner. It caters for the different learning styles and makes language learning a joyful, holistic experience. Thank you. I will now hand you over to the moderator.
Oh my gosh, this whole topic was interesting. Thank you, panelists. Thank you. So I must say a big thank you to all our panelists for those rich and thoughtful insights. Let's now open the floor for a few questions from our audience. And I know the audience have a lot of questions, but we'll only take three. We'll only take three questions. So my first question from the audience is, isn't Suggestopedia too relaxed for serious academic learning? I think Miss Renata will answer that for us. Let's hear what Miss Renata has to say.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you for that question. And that's a good question, but Suggestopedia doesn't replace structure. It enhances it. By relaxing our pupils, our students, we give them now an opportunity to better focus. We're preparing their minds and we're getting them to, we're putting them in an environment, or we're setting the mood, or we're setting the pace for them to retain more information because, like we said, Suggestopedia is, it's all about creating an environment that is conducive for learning, making the child comfortable or the pupils comfortable. And we know that when we do this, it enhances learning. Our pupils are more focused and they retain whatever lesson is being done for the day. And the research shows that relaxed learners actually learn faster and more effectively. So it's not taking away structure, but it's really and truly adding structure, but making it more fun or more light or more easier.
Wow. Miss, I love that answer. I love that answer. I think Miss deserve a round of applause. Give Miss a round of applause. So cool. So my second question from the audience is, what if students become distracted by the music or activities? What if students become distracted by the music or activity? So I think Miss Melissa will answer this question for us. Yes. Go right ahead.
Sure. So the question is like, what if students become distracted by music or activities? No, the key is balance. The music should be calm, played softly in the background, not like a loud, hard music banging really hard. It's supposed to be really calm and played softly. So the activities are purposeful, like each song, the drama or discussion is connected to the learning objective. So once students understand that, they stay engaged rather than distracted. Thank you, Miss.
Nice. So our last question came from Miss Wendy Primo, and she asks, can Suggestopedia work with older students or just young learners? So Miss Prasad, this question is yours. Good. So as we conclude, it's clear that Suggestopedia offers teacher a refreshing and human-centered approach to language learning. And this is done by combining taxation, oh my God, this imagination and positive suggestion, which will help students feel safe, confident, and inspired to use language meaningful. So when teachers apply Suggestopedia, even in small way, this may transfer the classroom into a space where learning feels natural and joyful. And I like that. So I must say thank you, audience, and a thank you to our panelists for this excellent contribution. Thank you all for engaging in today's discussion. We hope this inspired you and you try Suggestopedia in your language arts lesson, or some parents might take this back and want to try that at home. Feel free to do so. So I must say again a big thank you. Give it up, give it up, give it up for all the panelists today. They did an excellent job.
Thank you for that question. And yes, Suggestopedia can work for all ages, not only young learners, or we might say early childhood learners or kindergarten. It can work for both young learners and older learners or older students. It might from the primary level or as well as the secondary level. It's suitable for all ages. With older learners, the teachers might use classical or instrumental music. That might be applicable for the secondary schools. Also, poetry, reading, or creative visualization instead of games. The same principles apply, creating confidence, reducing anxiety, and encouraging active participation. So with Suggestopedia, the learners they will all be included. And it's yes, it can work for both young learners and the older learners as well. Thank you.
So good. So as we conclude, it's clear that Suggestopedia offers teacher a refreshing and human-centered approach to language learning. And this is done by combining relaxation, oh my God, this is imagination and positive suggestion, which will help students feel safe, confident, and inspired to use language meaningful. So when teachers apply Suggestopedia, even in small way, this may transfer the classroom into a space where learning feels natural and joyful. And I like that. So I must say thank you, audience, and a thank you to our panelists for this excellent contribution. Thank you all for engaging in today's discussion. We hope this inspired you and you try Suggestopedia in your language arts lesson, or some parents might take this back and want to try that at home. Feel free to do so. So I must say again a big thank you. Give it up, give it up, give it up for all the panelists today. They did an excellent job.